This is Design Safe Radio, where natural hazards researchers strive to make our society more resilient to everything nature throws at us.
So, kind of rounding third for home here, this is a complex, the Converging Design project is a multi-dimensional, multidisciplinary research project. We've got everybody from engineers to industry, construction to geotechnical people involved. Talked about kind of the ultimate goal is to see this hopefully at a site not too far from here. Can you talk a bit about the outcome of the project and how is this going to change the way that seismic design and engineering and architecture are practiced?
Right. I think we have different tiers of goals, and maybe hopeful outcomes, but things that we really believe can be achieved. And this is both the 10-story and now the 6-story, especially with our resilient designs. One of the I'd say near-term goals is to actually develop a new line in the code, but that will allow us to use resilient, self-centering rocking walls as part of the building code. So, because that will really help anybody else in the US and really help all our jurisdictions to adopt rocking wall systems, post-tension rocking wall systems. So that's one very tangible impact that we hope to have here in the short term. And the testing that we're doing, again, both the 10-story and the 6-story, plus additional work that colleagues from industry and from Colorado School of Mines are working on, we hope to have that impact. The other one, which is maybe more broader long-term impact, is really to bring sustainability into functional recovery. So as part of the project, we had a series of workshops already on functional recovery, a series of workshops on sustainability, and we're bringing those concepts into this new design paradigm. So working with our colleagues, working with our industry partners, with these consensus building workshops that we've been having, we hope to have a converging design methodology that can be used in the future. Of course, there's going to be more lessons learned as more people start adopting it, but we do hope that it sets the stage for this next new design paradigm that we've labeled Converging Design.
Yeah, it's really amazing to see. I mean, as most folks who are somewhat tangentially related to things like civil engineering know, like getting something into building code is not a trivial effort. We're hoping that it'll be less than the usual 10 years to get it in there, but it may not be.
It may not be. And maybe some other points that I would add in terms of impacts, which are maybe not as small as that, even though it may be on 2, 3, 4, 10 people, 10 students that have worked on this project. I do hope that they will be having impact in terms of everything that they've learned. I can foresee that some of them, they will be 10 years, 20 years, 30 years down the line. Maybe when you and I, Dan, are thinking about retirement, they'll be the ones pushing on the new sustainable functional recovery design. So I do hope that would be a good outcome as well, is that we're training all these students to be our next engineers,
right?
Working forward and moving forward.
And that's a good point. And honestly, this is like really kind of real time for me as well. I mean, as these students are getting into the workforce and buying their first house, building their first house, they might be more likely to look at like, well, what about a cross-laminated timber structure if I'm able to afford such things? Or if I'm not, I'm going to work towards making it more affordable, more accessible for people to be in these resilient, sustainably built structures. And how do we encourage engineers, architects, practitioners to increase that supply so that it is more affordable than, or at least comparable to a house that you could buy that's existing, or building a new house, with conventional construction methods. Because just looking at the moment, like, yeah, it's a fair bit more expensive. Like, we were just comparing with a small ADU in the backyard here in Eugene. If you were to build it with cross laminated timber, it's a good percentage more than just building a stick built, but you get all those benefits on the back end.
Yeah, and we're providing solutions that fit different markets as well. Which reminds me, one of the other outcomes that I do hope is there's, as I mentioned before, there's this very big industry collaboration and presence in our project. Mm-hmm. And so, our partners have spent a lot of time looking at gravity connections that are in the Tallwood building, in the 10-story and the 6-story version. And those have gone and sustained over 200 earthquakes right by now.
Wow.
So there was a lot of effort that our industry partners put in to develop those connections. There's many other connections in the building, but I just talked about the gravity connections, column to beam connections in the rest of the building. That's not the primary piece that we were talking about in terms of design, but that industry collaboration, the solutions. So I do hope that, these new products are going to be out there for others to use, but that have been tested and that are ready to go into practice. So again, some of these, like you were mentioning, some of these may be more expensive or less expensive. Some of these maybe still need another phase of design, but working with industry has been fantastic. And I do hope that it brings our outcomes closer so that people, everybody, your neighbor that is doing the ADU, others can use as well.
Yeah. Kind of wrapping up here, like if someone's listening is like, wow, I'm an architect and I'd love to like collaborate on a project or be part of what's going on here, how would they go about getting involved in kind of the next phase of either Convergence Design project or another project down the road with the Tallwood Design Institute or your team at OSU?
Right. So you already mentioned we have a website at the Tallwood Design Institute where folks can see all our partners, and so can reach out to us or can reach out to our various industry partners depending on what they're asking. I imagine, well, I'll send you the link if you don't have it, but I imagine you have the link and you can share later with the podcast or within the comments. Just reach out to us, and we're happy to tell you more about what we've learned. We will be here for another month and a half. So it's early February now that we're talking, Dan and I, but through the end of March, we will be here on site. So folks are welcome to come and visit. We've had many architects, many folks from Southern California come and visit, and we've had different industry partners that have had their own day where they bring their clients and they bring their people that are interested in looking at how these products can be used. So reach out to us, and we'll do our best, either ourselves or connecting you with the right people.
Great. Yeah, we'll make sure to put those links in the show notes for this, and we'll be getting it out hopefully soon enough to let people be able to listen beforehand. I know Marty does a great job of, even before podcasts come out, of communicating well. So we'll make sure to get those links out in a timely manner so people can take advantage of your time that you've got down there. And as always, just good to see you, Andre. Looking forward to getting back together when you're up north again, and hopefully you get some sun while you're down there.
Yes, for sure. Thank you, Dan.
Thanks, Andre. Thanks for listening to today's episode of Design Safe Radio. Be sure to like and subscribe on whatever platform you happen to be listening to this on. It really helps people find our show. Thanks to our amazing sponsors, the National Science Foundation and the NARI Network Coordination Office, which is award number 2129782. Big thank you to Marty LaChance, our guest booker and topic researcher extraordinaire, and Raquel Ruiz, who is our video and audio editor. I'm your host and NARI Facility Scheduling and Operations Coordinator, Dan Zahner. We'll see you in the next episode. Until then, stay resilient.